Hello, welcome to Mondays with Mira, pleasurable picture book reviews and little teaching lessons about picture books. So we're going to have a look at this delightful book by the ever wonderful Elisa Kleven, and then we're going to go back and talk about what makes it so wonderful. And one of the neat things about getting books from authors and illustrators, or when they're there, is to get a lovely little inscription. And Elisa happens to be a friend of mine, so it's a little even more wonderful. The wind it whooshed, the snow it whirled, the rain streamed down, it sloshed and swirled, and washed the colours from the world. Bare trees shook like chilly bones, children grumbled in their homes, birds and beasts all wished the sun would show its golden face again. A baker missed the sun so much she took some flour from her hutch. Some butter, sugar, eggs and yeast, she said, I'll bake a sunny feast. Because the real sun likes to hide, I'll make my own small sun inside. She kneaded bread dough, rich and gold, glossy, springy, smooth to hold. She shaped a bread so round and grand, it seemed the sun shone in her hands. Perhaps the baker's loving touch helped her sun bread grow so much. Perhaps it was the yeast or flour. Something gave that sun bread power. It rose and rose and rose. A smell from heaven filled the nose of every chilly child and dog, every porcupine and hog. They saw that good bread rise and shine and stopped their grumbles, groans and whines. The bakers made a sun, they cried. The baker let them all inside and filled them up from toe to head with puffy, hot, delicious bread. Bread so brilliant, bright and sunny, summer seemed to fill their tummies. Bread so fluffy and so fine, they felt themselves begin to shine. And then, surprise, begin to rise, to float and flutter, flip and fly, light as kites into the sky, and down again to dance and sing. They all joined hands and hooves and wings, and praised the joy good bread can bring. They made a sound so sweet and deep. The real sun woke up from its sleep. It burst out through the lumpy clouds and streamed down on the startled crowd. The sun is here, they gave it cheer. It wants some bread, the baker said. So everyone threw bits of bread, chunks and hunks and crusty crumbs, into the sky up to the sun, who ate it up and beamed back down on every city, field and town. It dried the fur of mouse and dog and warmed the soul of bear and frog. It glittered on the blue-green seas, wove golden ribbons through the trees. It painted colours on the day, melted all the snow away, and brought the shadows out to play. It scattered rainbows soft and bright, fed the plants with its clear light. Streaked the sky red, yellow, pink, and purple, then began to sink. And as the sun slipped down to rest, the baker shouted this request. Come back for breakfast, please, dear son. I'll bake fresh sun bread and sun buns. The baker baked the whole night long. And then, hooray, at crack of dawn, the sun was back to spread its light like honey on each yummy bite, and dance around the world and sing of all the joy good bread can bring. And now when it is cold and grey and dark and icy, guess who plays with flour, sugar, eggs and yeast? Guess who bakes bread stars and beasts, bread birds and flowers, boats and towers, tons of buttery small suns which shine until the real one comes? The baker and her crew, that's who. And one part didn't transfer properly. Now it's a week later. And we're going to talk about what makes this book so terrific. A big part is the art, and also that it's super charming. that it's a kind of creation story in how bread came to be, or, you know, it has a real mythological feeling to it. It has a really wonderful folktale, fairy tale quality to it. And let me share a little about Elisa. And she's a magician. I'm going to bring this in close so you can just see how extraordinary and how detailed her illustrations are. So she has the language that builds, and I'm probably not going to be quite as focused as usual because I didn't sleep well last night, but I'll do my best. And so the story, it starts off, it's, you know, a depressing, rainy winter, and then it takes us through how to get through that depressing part and create our own suns, create our own joy. And for Elisa, this means making bread. I want you to notice how everything is moving that way, which subconsciously encourages us to turn the page to see what's coming next. And this book can be used in so many different contexts. For a start, she's a big animal person. She's a big-time environmentalist. So many of her books celebrate the natural world in different ways. She layers it. This is watercolor and mixed media, and she was one of the original mixed media artists from like 20 years ago. And she layers stuff, bringing it more complexity and more depth and more things to discover, more things of interest. Now, some people use a very limited palette. Elisa's art is just full on, and it's all there. But there's also a bunch of neutral elements as well. Usually what happens is the main characters are in wild colors and the background is more muted. But here it's kind of the other way around, and it definitely works. This book can be used for many, many different things, and I'm sure it has been, and including teaching about different environments, about cooking, about the weather. And then here, when she shows all the different things that you can make with bread, which is really nice. And I don't know if she actually made these with bread or these are painted. All I know is that they're lovely. And then on the very, very back, it provides a recipe for making sun bread. And it also shows you how to make the different shapes, which is really nice. Let me bring that in closer. And I think that's it for returning to, it's kind of hard to do, returning to something that you did a week ago to talk about why it's so fabulous. But trust me, it is fabulous. Check it out. Check out any of her books, because pretty much everything she does is wonderful. And that's a big part of why I love her, because she is wonderful as a person, and that generosity of spirit and heart really comes across in her work. Thank you. Here she's illustrated some Aesop's fables, and if you go in real close, you can see the teeny angels in there. They're pretty amazing. So, that's it for Mondays with Mira, and I'm really happy that people like Elisa Kleven are in the world and doing beautiful books like Sunbread. And we may do another one of her books at some point, because obviously I'm a big fan. Thank you.